Low uranium friends, so Canadian names in the uranium space. Let's get after it. Anfield, yep. Posted this chart maybe a week ago or so. Yeah, all it's been doing has been going down. So uh, weekly charts are going to be the quick ones here. So I don't like to see these type of action because it's all algorithmic and not a lot of people in there. But regardless of that, there is a structure here. There is a very long trend line that is being respected still. That is the deal. We have the descending triangle. Be all end all support is 4 cents. Anfield Energy. Appia. Okay, so as we go through some of these, you're going to start to see there's a metric that we can easily quantify with some of these names, and you're going to easily be able to identify the laggards and the ones that are strong and the ones that are in the middle. Appia's in the middle, right? And what's the metric? It is the 200-day moving average. So if we're just using that simple metric with on these weekly charts, we're going to be able to glean a lot from that. So yeah, I mean, a lot of these charts are going to look semi correlated in the fact that they're all making some nice little break out of their recent trend moves on the shorter time frames, intermediate time frames. We still have longer term trends that we have to deal with. Appia is a perfect example of that. Without even having to draw one, I could just see that there's a trend line here. All right, and it just kind of got through and might be doing a little bit of a back test now. So it's just, quick sloppy trend lines. Okay, so if you take it from there, that's what we're looking at. And then if you take it from here, you could be looking at something different, right? So because that would still be a legit trend line. So in the short term, from this peak, still fighting that trend line. Blue sky, still down. Not doesn't have that look that So we can start to categorize these things now, right? So Appia has a better look. It's testing its 200-day moving average. This whole drawdown, it's kind of gotten through this local drawdown, right? So Blue Sky hasn't even done that. So no change to this chart. Still garbage, right? We don't need to do Cameco. Consolidated, yeah, a little bit again, a different move. So this is, better in the respect that it doesn't have these big volatile down moves. So it's grinding. This is a pretty clean, legit trend line that you could probably, anybody who's using technical analysis could, formulate a plan here. It's a tightening up. This triangle here is tightening up. If we want to see what that looks like, this triangle here, one could say it's already broken through it and it's doing a little bit of a back test. It's above the 200-day moving average and it's looking to back test its 200-day moving average out of this structure that it just got out of. Not a bad look. Wait and see for me. I don't have a position. Canalaska, same type of deal. This one's different though, right? So it's so volatile. It's all over the place and it's always up and down and dancing around the 200-day moving average. So the 200-day moving average is not as much as a metric, but what you do see as opposed to consolidated, consolidated red on the week. Canalaska green on the week. So, you start to see these subtle little differences where you can start to develop a plan around. Encore, I do that on big boards. Fishing, nice double bottom here, actually. Now I'm looking at this. Nice double bottom on fishing here, making its way over this 200-day moving average. Won't be surprised on the back test and a little bit of undercut, but this double bottom here has my attention. I may be adding to this one on some sort of consolidation. Let me just look at the daily. Yeah, I mean the daily's it's a 12 EMA rider right now, right? So it's just riding this 12 EMA, which is kind of in confluence with this 200-day moving average. So you've got a pretty decent line of support here at like 72 cents Canadian. I'll be keeping my eye on this one. I'll have to set some alerts. Base load, same look. A lot of the Canadian names have this look again. Base load, weekly falling wedge, making its way out of it. Weekly Adam and Eve pattern, not the best because these double bottoms should be kind of where this V shape is, but we'll take what we can get here. Love rounding bottoms. Okay, these are great looks for stocks. This is accumulation. Again, weak on last week, right? So this, as opposed to, what was it, Canalaska, right? Let's look at Canalaska. Okay, so Canalaska, big green bar, and base load is actually with an upper wick. So this is like almost looking like a reversal bar. Um, it's still within the previous week's trading, so there's nothing to say about that until we get a little bit more clarity. This is when you zoom in. So daily consolidation is underway, right? It lost its higher low here. So a little bit of a different look. This is the back test, and if base load handles this back test nicely, that gives me a little bit more of a feeling of confidence with, consolidated. But this is back testing as well. So that's the deal with base load. Daily consolidation underway. Weekly candle looks weaker than other names in the space, but nice rounding bottom, building, forming a base of support. A good point of control right here, which is right at the 41 spot, which is where a lot of the moving averages are. Not bad for base load. Expected consolidation. Wait to see what happens with consolidation here, because then the other weekly charts that have that similar look, maybe they're going to do something as well. Forum continues on. Nice little break. Yeah, I mean, this is probably going to be a very good trend line that it took out also. So we could probably just sloppily draw one here, and I would probably draw it like this. Yeah, so it's true. Let's get a back test, see what happens. Forum doesn't look bad either, right? Forces, no change in this chart. Nothing. Nothing changed. Everything's the same here, right? These tests, these little runs in these tests, and then these pullbacks. We don't know what's happening here yet, so wait and see. But good weekly bars. F3. Fission 3.0, yeah, it's a sideways grind. Everybody's waiting on some drill results or whatever, assays and SINT readings and all that stuff. Sideways. Global, we know, right? GoVX still in this weekly falling wedge. It's going to be fighting the global stuff with Niger. So, no change to this chart. Still going down. ISO energy, pretty good trend line. It's kind of made its way, starting to try to get out of. Needs some more time to see that it actually does it. So, possibly this chart has a chance of changing soon as far as this structure is concerned. But that's about it. This is a typical uranium push, right? Typical uranium push, especially with ISO. This thing tends to move around quickly. But these are very typical, and they've all been given back. So until proven otherwise, I'm going to make the assumption it does the same thing, But small position here, looking to reload or add to it at some point. Laramide, yeah, a lot of the look again. This is it's gotten through. This is good. This is a much better look. Laramide bow is going to be conservatively, actually, in the very least, would be looking for this back test. But good weekly candle again, so you can start to categorize these things just based upon what the weekly candles look like for strength and weakness, finding the laggards, anything to that effect. Sky Harbor, triangle making its way out. Maybe we can see some back test here, but it's tightened up and it's going to make a move. It's tightened up here and it made a move and gave it all back. So, at the moment, it's a nice little move out of here. We still have some horizontal resistance to deal with, but this volume profile pocket starts to pull back a little bit, and then you might have some room to run. Who knows? Standard, the dog, piece of crap, right? No change in the chart. I don't even think it's made it through this trend line, this long-term trend line here. Maybe it has. No, it hasn't. It's nowhere. It's nowhere near it. I guess it depends on where you take your pull, but let's just take it from there and see if we can get a legit. I want to get a little bit more of a legit trend line here. Okay, so not the best. I don't have enough touches here. to really definitively say. So I wouldn't even work a trend line here, but loosely based on this, a little rejection here again. But your metric obviously is the 200-day moving average. Okay, so just look, Sky Harbor is above 200-day moving average, Standard's well below, Pure Point well below, Mega well above. Mega has a much better look. So you start to see who's stronger. But if you take a little bit of a bigger picture, has it really changed this chart at all? No, it's still sideways. Aramide above, ISO I would say is above, right? Yeah, above. So you can use that metric. Let's take a look at Western. I even have fibs on here. So Western, again, kind of a look, not much of a change in the chart, really. Again, these loose trend lines can always open to interpretation, but this is a pretty good trend line. It could get better. You want to get solid candle touches, at least 3 of them. So here you go. This is a try. This would be a decent trend line, and Western has kind of worked its way sideways through it. So, but the trend hasn't changed here in any way, shape, or form. So we need to see that. So there's work to be done here. There's a good solid base of support. I initiated a position last week in Western. I'm not going to be hanging around if this base of support breaks down. I will probably try to add more in this area, and I don't think I'd be hanging around much longer than that if this area breaks here. We have a little bit of support here at the golden pocket. We'll see. My plans can change. It all depends upon what happens in general with the broad markets and the uranium market. So start to take a look at just if you want to gauge strength. If anyone's looking for laggards, if I'm looking for laggards, and I think that the weaker names might be the place to go, maybe I do that. So I use the metric of the 200-day moving average, or maybe I use these weekly bars. Maybe I'll feel more comfortable being a little bit more aggressive in the names that might be doing back tests. Like baseload, for example. So baseload's doing starting a back test now. So maybe when it gets back to this range, maybe that's my spot. Possibly, I have I wouldn't mind adding to some baseload. So look at it in that respect if you want. Line it up with your fundamentals and what you think. There's people that think Pure Point's got a great deposit. I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is that when I see this flatline stuff, even on a weekly, there's nobody in it. This is algorithmic trading, so I'm not touching it. But that's the deal on the Canadian names. Happy trading. Over and out.